Well, locally, there was no travel between Hong Kong and Osaka as 27 flights were canceled today because of Jebi. Sharon Tang has that story.
Typhoon Jebi has paralyzed the popular destination for Hong Kong travelers. With the temporary shutdown at Kansai International Airport, Cathay Pacific has scrapped all flights between Hong Kong and Osaka from today to next Monday, as well as 3 flights next Tuesday. Rebooking, rerouting, and refund charges will be waived for all confirmed bookings to and from Osaka between September 4th and September 12th. Hong Kong Airlines and Hong Kong Express have also cancelled all flights to Osaka from September 4th to September 9th. While Hong Kong Airlines will pay for any changes made by passengers, Hong Kong Express will only pay for changes made within 7 days, plus applying fare differences for the change of destinations. The Hong Kong Express has also advised travelers who are currently in Osaka to return to Hong Kong via Nagoya and Fukuoka instead. Using Japan's high-speed bullet trains, it takes 1 hour from Osaka to Nagoya and 3 hours from Osaka to Fukuoka. Some travelers currently stuck in Japan have already been looking to catch those flights, despite the fact that tickets are almost sold out and expensive. The Travel Industry Council of Hong Kong estimates there are at least 6 tour groups in Osaka now. In times of trouble, insurance may come in handy. The question is, what do the plans cover? President of an insurance union, Chang Lai-fung, said typhoons are usually included in natural disaster coverage, adding that the compensation for a 5 to 6 hours delay could range from $300 to $800. But he noted insurance companies may require proof and transaction records of accommodation and travel fees. Sharon Tang, TVB News.
In other news, Hong Kong stocks fell to their worst loss in 11 weeks today as investors dumped property, energy and tech stocks amid worries about China's economy and the Sino-US trade war. The Hang Seng Index fell 2.6% to 27,243. There are signs money is flowing out of Hong Kong on growing anxiety that the financial turmoil in Turkey and Argentina could spread to other emerging markets. Adding to signs of an economic slowdown on the mainland, fresh data showed growth in China's services sector weakened again in August. Investors are also bracing for a major escalation in the Sino-US trade war. President Donald Trump says he is ready to impose tariffs on another $200 billion in Chinese imports.
Passengers were left frustrated and confused on the MTR's West Rail line today when services were interrupted this morning. Haley Zhou has more.
MTR staff hurried passengers out the train compartment after an equipment faulted. This happened to a train near Nam Chong Station at around 9:30 a.m. Train services between Austin and Mayfu stations were subsequently suspended. An MTR spokesperson expected the breakdown to add up to 20 minutes to passengers' traveling time and try to clear the backlog by providing free shuttles. Some commuters were still frustrated over frequent MTR service disruptions. This woman, who was ushered out at Mayfu station, said she was already late for work when her train stopped for about 5 minutes at each station. She was also confused with different instructions MTR staff gave her. Before services fully resumed at around 11 a.m., trains were running at 8-minute intervals between Hong Kong and Austin, as well as between Mayfu and Tuen Mun. The faulty train was later removed from the tracks for an inspection to see what exactly caused the problem. Services on the Tsuen Wan line also suffered disruptions today when Mong Kok Station experienced a signal failure. While the problem was resolved in 20 minutes, it still inconvenienced commuters during the morning rush hour. Haley Zhou, TVB News.
Overseas again, British prosecutors have identified 2 Russian men who they say tried to murder former spy Sergei Skripal and his daughter Yulia with a military-grade nerve agent in England. Skripal and his daughter were found unconscious on a public bench in Salisbury on March 4th. Britain blames Russia for the poisonings and identified the poison as Novichok, a deadly nerve agent. Russia has repeatedly denied any involvement in the attack. An arrest warrant has been issued for the 2 suspects. Non-stop chaos disrupted the Senate confirmation hearing for President Donald Trump's U.S. Supreme Court nominee, Brett Kavanaugh. As Democrats fought for a postponement, various protesters slammed Kavanaugh, even though he insists Trump would never guide his decisions.
We should not be proceeding until we have the full documents that allow us to review the judge's record.
And it's that president who's decided you are his man. So are people nervous about this? Are they concerned about it? Of course they are.
Shut this hearing down. This hearing is an attack on women's rights and an attack on democracy. Shut this hearing down now.
To protect the people, I defend the nomination of Brett Kavanaugh.
Kavanaugh must not be put on the court.
A judge must be independent and must interpret the law, not make the law.
Democrats tried to block the proceedings in a dispute over Kavanaugh records withheld by the White House. Republicans in turn accused the Democrats of turning the hearing into a circus. The hearing is expected to last 3 more days. If confirmed, the 53-year-old will fill the seat of retired Justice Anthony Kennedy.
Are they concerned about it?
Coming up after the break. Customs reports a surge in seizures of exotic animals and plants. Alipay trial runs new stores without any sales staff in them.
Welcome back to TVB News. Seizures of endangered species have soared in Hong Kong this year as local authorities step up their anti-smuggling efforts. Officers have uncovered attempts to smuggle exotic plants and animals, including reptiles, ivory and sought-after hardwood. Pangolin scales, rhino tusks and rosewood. What do they have in common? All are considered endangered species under an international convention to protect wild animals and plants. Last year, Customs seized 63 tons of endangered species. That figure more than doubled to 174 tons in the first 8 months of this year alone. The number of arrests also jumped to 374. This year's haul is worth an estimated $58 million, dragged up by expensive timber and shark fins. They were mainly intercepted at sea control points, but Customs also stopped suspicious airmail in a joint operation with the Agriculture, Fisheries and Conservation Department. So what's inside those parcels that often come with vague descriptions on declaration forms?
Mostly the live animals, the owls, live turtles and tortoise, some lizards. So these are some not very common pet species that you can see in the pet shops. So they are from illegal source.
Customs are also applying new technologies to examine cargo passing through Hong Kong for a higher detection rate. That's because smugglers tried hiding ivory amongst frozen fish and pangolin scales in paper scraps, which made searches difficult and time-consuming. Authorities are hoping an amended ordinance with harsher penalties can deter smuggling activities, even if they believe most items are not destined for Hong Kong. Breaching the law on importing or exporting endangered species could result in a $10 million fine and 10 years in jail.
2 stores began trial runs today, giving locals a glimpse of the future of retail, a future where stores have no sales staff. Here's Christy Loon.
This is no ordinary store. It requires people to enter with a bright smile, then a device will generate a QR code, which customers can start their shopping experience with. Mainland mobile payments giant Alipay opened this self-service outlet in Mong Kok, which trial runs until October the 1st. As the checkout counters, a device can detect all items selected using radio frequency identification technology, or RFID. All you have to do is to put the items on the panel and pay with the firm's mobile payments app. However, for shoppers who encounter any difficulties in the store, they can only call the firm's hotline to get help. Alipay stressed no excessive personal data, except the shoppers' mobile numbers will be collected. The firm's management also dismissed security concerns in the store, as there are security cameras in the outlets and detectors near the checkout counters to prevent shoplifting. Another unmanned store in Mongkok also opened its doors to customers today, which trial runs until the end of the month. The snack outlet also offers human-free checkout experiences. After its system identifies the selected items, shoppers will be required to pay with a designated mobile payment platform. Christy Lung, TVB News.
Now a closer look at new police cars previously guarded from the public eye. Police bought 3 of these riot control vehicles after securing $27 million from the legislature. They were tested during a drill in Fan Lane, almost 4 months since the first one arrived in Hong Kong. The vehicles fitted with water cannons were ordered 2 months after Occupy Central ended. It has caused concerns amongst legislators who asked for operational guidelines to be made public. The security chief earlier refused, citing that's part of their tactics in crowd management.
An elderly man has been reunited with his 81-year-old wife after she went missing on Sunday. A couple headed to Yan Chai Hospital for the woman's body check. She was reportedly found this morning soaking her feet in a stream near Shinmun Reservoir. That's where the hiker was reported missing 3 days ago. The husband suspects his wife survived by drinking stream water and promised to keep a closer watch on her.
More overseas news. A South Korean presidential delegation met with North Korean officials today to arrange a summit planned for later this month. They're hoping to help rescue the faltering nuclear diplomacy between Washington and Pyongyang. They were carrying a personal message from South Korean President Moon Jae-in for North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. In addition to the upcoming summit, Seoul also wants a trilateral summit including the US, or a 4-nation summit that includes China, to declare a formal end to the Korean War. Washington has said that won't happen until there's a complete denuclearization of North Korea. A pair of ruby slippers used in The Wizard of Oz that were stolen from a museum in Minnesota in 2005 have been recovered. It comes after a year-long investigation in which a man approached the show's insurers with information about how to get them back.
We're here today to share with you the recovery of one of the most significant and cherished pieces of movie memorabilia in American history. Dorothy's ruby slippers from the 1939 movie The Wizard of Oz. Those slippers were later stolen in 2005 in Grand Rapids, Minnesota.
The FBI haven't arrested anyone in connection with the theft, but they have multiple suspects. The ruby slippers are key in the movie. After mysteriously landing in the land of Oz, Dorothy has to click the heels together 3 times and say there's no place like home in order to get back to Kansas. They're one of 4 pairs actress Judy Garland wore in the movie. Estimates put the value of the shoes at between $2 and $7 million US. And that's the news.
Good night.